don't know, but hey, what's up, Big Beard? What's going on? How you doing? Hey, what's up, Sam? Yeah, I had to restart it because I don't know. It's like kind of messed up. But we ain't here now.
Hey, hey, hey.
So what's up? Yeah, I had started earlier, but I had to restart. I don't know what happened. But
Okay.
everything seems to be working just fine now. So we're good.
I got a lot going on over here.
Okay. Okay, lead attorney. Yeah. Boss lady.
I'm trying to be like you, big dog.
You
Don't be
feel what
like
I'm
me.
saying? We couldn't do it.
I'm trying to be
We
like
need that. What's
trying to
up,
be
man?
like
What's happening,
Big Dog.
everybody?
What's up, Big Money E? What's
Ah,
going on?
my
Pardon me,
friend.
y'all. I had to let Chino
The
out. And
inspiration.
I have to be in my room because I have a house full of people.
Nah, that's
Mm.
all good. We can just jump into it. I know we're a
Let's
little late
go.
tonight due to a few traffic issues here, but we can get started. I know you guys. I know everybody heard about the recent mass shooting in Buffalo, and there's been a couple other shootings as well in Los Angeles. I'm gonna say, and then another location. It's escaping me, but it was a couple other shootings. I think actually in the New Jersey area there was another
Don't play
attack
into that, Ryan.
as well, in the same area as well. And it seems like they're all kind of linked to white supremacists as well. So, what are some of y'all thoughts about the mass shooting with what's his name, Peyton Gendron? I think that's how you say it.
I don't know that boy's name, and I have
Hey,
no
what's
desire to know his
up?
name. The one who shot up the supermarket.
Hey,
Yeah,
What's
Sandra.
going
Peyton
on, y'all?
Gendron. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know his name. I have no desire to know his name. His name to me is unimportant because why would you go to the grocery store and just start shooting a bunch of people? So, I mean, like it's exhausting to be completely honest. That's how I feel. It's completely exhausting that every time we turn around is a mass shooting, whether it be at school, grocery store, church. Like people literally, but especially black folks, we can't walk around and just do things that we do. Like we can't.
Hello?
It's tough to be out here just trying to live our life. Like a majority of the people that got shot at the grocery store were older in age, and it's like, yeah, they're just trying to buy food. Like, or when people went to church, they just wanted to go pray, and worship God. Or, even the movie theater, like that one wasn't racially motivated, but still, it's like people are just out here trying to live their lives, and it's just unfortunate and frustrating and exhausting. And the government is like, I'm not gonna say they're not doing anything because I think that they're trying to do something, but I just don't feel like everybody's on the same page because everybody's worried about their guns. Like people are putting guns over lives, and I think that that right there is a problem. I think that we need to um figure out something else. We need to figure something out because this ain't it.
Man, what's up, Natalie? What do you think, E? You want to chime in here?
For sure. Yeah, one of the biggest things that I'm looking at when I hear that is just like, um, I just think like the penalty that needs to go around, the taking of lives needs to be a lot more gruesome. Like I feel like one of the things that's the biggest discouragement that I think we see, or for me at least, is like we'll see people who again take lives and they'll be taken in, versus you'll see other individuals who, you know, will be doing something as simple as like I was saying the other day. There was a young boy who was stealing out of a store allegedly, you know, took a bag of chips and they slamming him up and down the ground and all types of stuff, you know, roughhousing him. And I'm like, the the lack of respect that people have for lives, human lives, and Black lives in particular, and then the value that they have over others, like, you know, other lives, is just, it's discouraging, like, because it really just shows, you know, what a lot of people think and what a lot of people feel about Black people. So, like, you know, when I watch it, you know, it's just, it's enraging because it kind of puts into place that, again, the way that people are treated, even when they're doing wrong, is wrong. And then not only is it that we have laws on the books for stuff like this, but like we said, the enforcement, the seeing like the penalties rise in those type of situations, that just doesn't happen often enough for people to feel like it's a
And the treatment of the
discourage.
suspects,
Excuse me, for
the
people to
treatment of
feel
the
like it's a
suspects too.
discouragement, or to discourage them from taking action to do these things, or to fear the punishment from them.
Also, too, the treatment of the suspects. Like you just made a really good contrast. Like you have somebody a black kid who might have stole a bag of chips. Remember that little boy? He was like 10, 11 years old. He stole some
Exactly.
chips out of a store, and they got him all hemmed up, locked up. But then they're being kind to a dude who just killed 10 people and who shot 13 people and killed 10 of them, and of them 10 died. So it's like, or like with Dylan Roof, how they brought him to McDonald's. Like,
All right, it leads to
are you
the
kidding me?
credibility of, you know, that what the report was from, I believe the FBI or the CIA. No, I think the CIA reported that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement, which gives that even
They've
more
been they.
credence, right?
I think it's frustrating. That frustrates me though, Malik. It frustrates me to no end because they say that white supremacists have infiltrated police, right?
Yeah, law
They
enforcement.
didn't
Yeah,
infiltrate. The police were designed to catch slaves. They were already there. They've always been there since
yeah,
the inception.
yeah. Slave
So when they
catching
start
history.
talking about infiltration, that's foolishness. Like, do you have people that are not racist on the police force? Absolutely. Do you have people of color on the police force? Absolutely. Do you have racists on there? Absolutely. Don't make it seem like, oh my God, they got in. No, they was there from the beginning. Like, don't just be honest. The people they need to be honest with the people, and it's just incredibly frustrating. Um, it's just incredibly frustrating, just watching how they treat black folks, and then and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make it seem like all police are bad and all of them are bad and they just need to burn in hell. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Uh,
But I do not like the uneven treatment. Like it's not right the way that that people get treated when from the beginning to the end, like from the time they get arrested all the way up through an appeal. Like it's just totally different and it's uneven, and they need to fix it. I don't know what they need to do, but it needs to get fixed.
Well, I would say one thing that we can kind of get done is kind of what the Asians got done, right? How they have an anti-hate bill, right? Anti-Asian hate bill. I think black people need an anti-black bill, right? And a lot of people say, what good is that
Which I
going to
hate
do?
black.
How is that going to help? Well, we're going to have some laws on the books to give us some
So
added
you got enough
protection, right?
anti-black bills for sure.
I mean, the Asians got one as soon as they had like a mass attack, right? It was just like one in recent memory, right? I'm sure there's been other attacks as well, but
I was about to say,
it's
have y'all heard of any? Like, have y'all
like
since
like in terms
like
of the publicity of stuff, it's been mainly black people, right? Or just maybe general white or black people getting killed, or it's not specific, right? So nowadays it's more black people getting targeted. At least this past week or two, it's been black people being targeted. So I think we need a bill, and it's been happening consistently with law enforcement being able to have these essentially state sanctioned executions. So we definitely need to get that fixed. We definitely need to take a look at law enforcement as a whole and see what's going on there and be able to penalize them specifically, and not just slaps on the wrist, right? we're going to need some more legislation on the books and laws on the books to regulate this stuff, because how come you're it's like a pattern, right? Like how come it's always they can always find a way to use discretion with mass murderers who happen to be white, and specifically white supremacists, as opposed to black people who are unarmed. They always find a way
They
to murder
wasn't
them.
even keeping that same energy with the people when the people stormed the damn Capitol. Like,
Exactly.
you know, if
Right.
when
So exactly, that's a
right,
good point. Like, so when people are, basically trying to commit treason, to the country, those people were able to basically walk in and do whatever they want. So we already know it's kind of the fix is in, and in order to fix it, we're gonna have to change things through legislation. And if Biden wants, full force of black support, I think he would make some headway into arguing this before Congress
yeah,
and doing what he can via executive orders.
right, with the executive orders, exactly. Because I mean, if Congress and the Senate are not going to do anything, then he needs to executive order it, because at this point it's out of control. The thing is, he's not going to do anything about policing though. That because he's made that abundantly clear, he's not
Well,
going to, because
he said we
he
need
just
more
keeps sending
funding
them money.
and we need more
Right, he
police.
just keeps giving them more money. It's like you keep feeding the beast. Like that's not the best way to fix a problem. Is not to always throwing money at a problem is not always the best way to fix it. Sometimes you really have to get to it at its foundation and really like reroot the thing. You know what I mean? And so the not just policing, but specifically, but more so just the system itself. Like, the George Floyd bill should have been, why, I just don't understand why that hasn't passed yet. Like, okay, great. They did the anti-lynching bill. Like when they did the anti-Asian hate bill, there were definitely some instances going on and it passed quickly.
And look how long that
But
took to pass.
but
Like,
since they passed that bill, you haven't heard squat. The concern that I have with passing like the George Floyd bill is that once it's passed, you're still going to see people violating that law, and people are not going to care. Why? Because of the way that the system is set up. So, that's one of the biggest concerns I have. Like when you talk about what happened in Buffalo was a travesty. It was disgusting, and it was sickening, and it was sad. Like I know, at one point I was really vocal about all of these things on my social media page and things like that. But what happened in Buffalo, I'm just so exhausted. I'm so exhausted with constantly saying, "Oh my God, rest in peace." Oh my God, I'm so like this. This
I
should
think
not be
that brings up
happening.
a good point, Sam, of the desensitization of how we are now. We're all desensitized to, oh, well, another mass shooting. I mean, that's where we're at with this stuff. But go ahead.
Right, and these people's lives matter. Like the reverence to them, to who they are, should definitely be available and be there. So it's just incredibly frustrating to have to continue to go through that. E, you were getting ready to say something?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, I think that that goes towards like one of the major effects that you kind of see again when it comes to the treatment that black people receive in general, like within some of the peers or within the others, in the country, and like just people just being desensitized to the way that they even act or the way that they have to respond to black people in regards to, um like the just the way that black people are viewed. And I think it was funny, not funny, but I think I saw a comment earlier, or a story earlier, that talked about how a mother wanted to, like, as a biracial mother, had like took offense with the state of, I don't know if it was Virginia or another state, but basically stating that since critical race was not being or taken out of the schools, she felt like her son, who was
Texas, I think
mixed.
it was either Texas or Florida.
No, I'm talking about a mother from one of the states came out and made a statement saying how, like, her son, who was biracial, and
Yeah,
all of a
me
sudden
too. That's
started
the
to
same.
identify with himself as being like a black man, were making statements about how he's getting treated certain type of ways because he's black, and just having an awareness to a sense of like, hey, my peers may not be treated like this, but I receive certain treatment. And I think it's like for individuals who are in those type of situations who happen to see both sides or see when their privilege doesn't grant them certain things that they felt like they may be able to receive, where they might see their parents, cousins, or other individuals in their family receive certain treatment they themselves don't be able to receive, then it becomes very obvious to them how the treatment of some people in this country is not equalized. And to the point that you were making, Malik, in regards to how that affects individuals from being able to be desensitized. I think it starts to make people start to feel like they don't have to take any type of remorse when they see these things happen. I also think that it also kind of makes, another effect is too that it just makes people feel like their lives may not matter to so many because of the fact that they just see that it's being taken at such a large rate. And it's shown in the media more than anyone else.
Yeah,
So
because the consequences of this is more people in mass will be desensitized to the issue because it's like, hey, it's not my community, not my individual issue, etc. Nothing's going to be done anyway. So the public outcry and outrage will be less, right? So and then there's no money behind it, right? Like what is Black Lives Matter doing, right? I mean, there's some heat with that organization as well. So what are these different organization, companies, and groups doing to actually, hurt the pockets of these legislators and actually push the issue going forward on solutions, right? Like the anti-lynching bill, not the anti-lynching bill, anti-black hate bill, um, and any other options, right? So a lot of these companies and groups and organizations aren't really have a vested interest in black people and their issues here. ADOS or FBA, whatever you want to call us, um, you know, descendants of slaves, right here in America. So that's one of the issues as well that we have is that like no one's really pushing it forward. It's like, okay, this happens. There's a little outrage, a couple stories, and then it dies down. They don't drag it out. So you see how Ukraine, right? They're dragging it out. It's like worldwide support. But with us, it's not the same, right? So it's like it's very contradictory. Like, okay, we're over here getting mass murdered, and there's no consequences for people doing such a thing, whether it's law enforcement or a regular civilian, and no one cares
Well, I
about
would
us.
say
You want us to
heightened
care about
consequences for the
issues.
repetitive actions of individuals who single or who target out, minorities for their killings, like, and considering the fact that we see it done on the regular. So yeah, that would be my thing.
Right, and
Because
I think
again, there
this
are
is trying to
consequences
train
for
us too.
anybody who takes a life. But what I believe that we're looking to see have done is a heightened consequences for those who choose to take lives based off of color, which again should be something that already should have been on the books already.
Right. I think, well, no, yeah, what I was saying earlier was the situation that you're talking about, I think took place in either Florida or Texas as it related to the biracial boy whose mom was speaking out. I think she's even filing a lawsuit about critical race theory.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember that.
yeah,
Seeing that.
so it's frustrating because, yeah, we a lot of times focus on, policing or the legislature, and you would think that we as a community, and when I say as a community, I don't mean like the black community, because I've already accepted the fact that there is no black community, that's the diaspora. When I say we as a community, I mean like in America, the American community specifically. Like, we don't look to help each other. Like, we might be united, but we don't look to help each other. There should be more people standing up and standing out, trying to get people to stop, holding people accountable. Like, I saw a video of this guy. He's like a Uber driver or a Lyft driver or something, and he's a white guy, and he picked up a ride, and it was a white girl and a white dude that were getting in the car, and the white lady got in the car and she made some kind of a racist comment about, oh, thank God you're not foreigner, or I don't remember what she said. She said something to that effect, right? And he was like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, I'm glad you're a white guy, blah, 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 blah. And she's just going on, feeling all comfortable. And he kicked her out. Like, you're a racist. Get out my car. And we need more of that energy, right? Holding each other accountable, because when you start holding people accountable, and of course the dude that's with her is cussing him out, calling him names. I think he might have kicked the car or something. Guess what? Now you just committed a crime, sir. So that coupled with that speech, that's a hate crime. Like, I mean, it could be deemed a hate crime. I'm not gonna say definitely is, but at the end of the day, we have to hold each other accountable, because if we're supposed to be united and we're supposed to be growing and moving forward and not having these types of experiences, you know, waiting for the government to fix it. We've been waiting for the government to fix it for hundreds of years. And although there have been advancements, it's not fixed. We're still in the same position. And we have to start holding each other accountable in order to try to fix it, in order to grow people so people can learn and not be so damn ignorant. You know what I mean? And understanding that this kind of behavior is just not okay. It's unacceptable. You don't go into a grocery store and shoot up a bunch of people on a Sunday afternoon, like driving 3 hours just to go kill a bunch of people. Like, if you hate somebody that much, you really need to check yourself. It's almost like one time Jay-Z was talking about, how do you hate what I'm doing? You sat down. I'm over here doing me, living my life, being busy, and you over there hating on me. Like, you're really thinking about what I'm doing and it's bothering you. If what I'm doing is bothering you so much, you have too much time on your hands. You should really be thinking about, what can I be doing to grow myself, better myself, be a better person, a bigger person, and things like that. It's called self-edification, and that's how you grow. And I think that we need to really start focusing on that more.
Right, right. I think that's one thing as well. And I think we need to really hold the media accountable, right? Mainstream media, because they'll do things of biasness, right? Where I saw the AP News, they actually wrote up the article when they were identifying the suspect. They identified him as a teenager, right? 18-year-old teenager, but when it's black people, it's identified as an adult male, right? So it's like the biasness is already there. The game is already fixed and rigged, and we got to hold some of these news outlets and media companies accountable, because they're feeding this narrative out there that's just false and giving people a false perception of these individuals, even though they are white supremacists, although they're targeting black people. Even Vice President Kamala Harris, she was talking about, like, oh, the xenophobia, all this other stuff. I'm like, no, the person was attacking black people. It was on his gun. He had the symbol there. I mean, he has a manifesto. What else do you need? It was targeting black people. It's like, come on. Why are you beating around the bush here?
And the other thing that bothered me was, I heard today there was a young lady who
I
did an
said,
interview on the news, and she said that she called the police and the dispatcher hung up on her. Like, she's like, the gunman is in here, it's a mass shooting in the grocery store, and the dispatcher's like, why are you whispering? She's like, because he's right over by me. Can you send help? And she's like, you don't need to be yelling. I mean, whispering, and but screamed on it and then hung up the phone. Like, that woman, if that's a true story, because we don't know. Sometimes people get on there for clout. So if
Oh
that is
no,
a
that
true
was a true
story,
story because they said that
yeah,
dispatcher was put on leave.
yeah,
no, she needs to be fired. This what are we
right.
putting on leave for? To listen to the tape? Like, she needs to be fired, and she should not be allowed to do that kind of work anymore that requires any type of emergency assistance. Like, 13 people got shot. That dude looked at a white
Or it could be
person and
considered
told him, "Oh,
technically
my
would be
bad."
considered
And
criminal negligent. Like, you know what I mean? Even to
right.
rise to that level, it's the fact that you hear somebody telling you that, oh, we have an active shooter around. I'm trying to be, discreet because I'm trying to hurry up and alert someone to get someone here, and then you don't take this request serious. You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
yeah, again.
Yes, she should be criminal. She should be held criminally responsible. I mean, and if those, I mean, I would say if those people wanted to sue her, they could, but
Definitely
she
shouldn't
probably
have a
don't have no
job.
money.
Should be fired immediately.
Yeah, she's not gonna have no money. So, but she should be held criminally responsible. And I do believe that if people took certain things more seriously, we would see a less foolishness. You know?
But I think people do take things seriously. It just happens to be when it's black people involved, they don't take things seriously. I mean,
That's why I said
as
things
a
like
whole,
this.
right?
That's what I mean. Things like this. They need to take it more seriously because
I think as a group they do, but I feel like when it comes to black people, it's glaring that it's like obviously they don't take any of our issues seriously at all.
well, I mean, they take them seriously to a degree. They take them seriously up until it's time to resolve the
I
problem.
mean,
It's
when it's
always like,
election time, they'll try to hear them
I wouldn't even
out.
say they
They'll
take
try
it
to.
serious. I'll say like they, if
I
anything,
don't
like
think so.
they speak on it, they may acknowledge it,
but
but it's
that's
like
Yeah,
that's it.
give us
but that's
You getting a
symbolism,
lot of
no
like lip
tangibles,
service.
right?
but that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Like they're always up in arms when it happens, but nobody does anything to
That's
stop
what
it
I
to
would
prevent
argue. It's
it.
not
Yeah,
up in arms. If you're not doing anything about it, all you're doing is just acknowledging that it occurred, and then you're moving on.
like President Biden saying like, "Hey, we gotta fight white supremacy. We will win." Excuse me, President Biden, but you've done a lot of stuff to harm the black community. Can you administer some type of executive orders? Can you lobby towards Congress about some legislation and put forth that stuff? Like, can you get on it? Like, come on, man. Like, what about
Yeah, how
reparations?
about we get that George Floyd thing passed?
What
Like
about the
it's
George
just too
Floyd
much. It's too
bill? Or
right.
is it an
I agree,
act? I don't
Malik.
know. One of them. What about
I
anti-black bill? Give us our stuff. Like, come on.
anti-black hate bill, right?
Yeah, like we need
I
something.
agree, and I think that something has to be done. But that's what I mean. Like you look at the media, you look all over the place. Oh, the Buffalo shooter this, the Buffalo shooter that, and then and that's where it ends.
Yeah, but what happens if there's a next shooter? Are they going to be getting a pat
There
on?
is a next shooter. You just mentioned how there were like at least two other shooters that
Yeah,
happened.
because there was a situation in a church where somebody, I think it was a church or some building where a group of black people were at, and I think security was able to quell that situation. But it's like, this is starting to spring up again. Like, it's starting to get warmer around the country. So, you can foresee to see these situations. People are moving about like it's normal. Dr. Fauci said the pandemic is pretty much over in the U.S. So it's like people are going to be moving about, and these white supremacists are going to be on the move. And even in this particular situation, there was a black security guard who even had a firearm to try to defend it. But this white supremacist came prepared. Like
Body armor, all
they
types
had
of stuff.
body armor,
The
so
whole
he was
nine.
able to
Yep.
keep going. So I think we
Yeah.
really,
Stop.
we need to get federal government involved to investigate these white supremacists and start, detaining them and arresting them or doing what they can, to preempt some of these attacks.
Like I hate to say it, but I think though I hate to say it, but like
Because they're
I'm
terrorist
starting,
organizations.
but I'm starting to feel like the only way to get this stuff deterred is if people start taking the Black Panther approach. That's the only way people gonna listen. Like, you know, gun when the Black Panthers went up into the Capitol in California, all of a sudden it was always gun legislation. Because they went in there with their guns. They wasn't shooting at nobody. They weren't pointing at nobody. They weren't trying to harm anybody. They just went in there to make a political statement. All of a sudden, there were gun laws, right? If black people start
Well,
loading
I
up
think
and
that's a new issue though. You're not gonna get, you know what I'm saying, like the NRA or people like that, the guys to limit guns. Like that's just not gonna happen. Like
this is what I'm saying, though. Hear me out,
yeah,
though. What I'm saying is that if you take that type of approach, I'm not saying to do that thing. I'm saying to take that if black folks had to stand up and take that type of approach, that's the only time you're gonna start seeing movement. Because look at we've been in it, this is not the first time we've been in this situation. And it's sad.
I don't
And
think
it's
that we're
what's
gonna
even
see
more sad
movement
is
though. That's what I'm arguing because I don't.
this is
They're not
my
gonna
point. That's
restrict
my
their own
point. My
liberties
point,
in order
my
to
point, my
prevent.
point,
You know what
my
I'm
point,
saying?
my point. And my point is that if we take it's going to have to be a drastic approach. Every time there's been some sort of advancement for black people in this country, it's been because something drastic has had to happen. Like, they desegregated buses because all the black people who was paying all their money, was spending all this money keeping the buses rolling, stopped getting on the bus, right? Or when every time you see some that's just an example, but when you see like drastic measures taken by black folk that they either A, affect the pockets of our economy, or B, make people scared, put the fear of God in them, those are the only two times you ever really see movement happen. You see what I'm saying? Like when George Floyd, the situation with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, look at how you had George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor all come to light at the same time, right? Now, the George Floyd got two of them, I think, pled guilty, and then one of them was found guilty, the other one pled guilty. Then with Ahmaud Arbery, they were found guilty and stuff, but Breonna Taylor didn't even bother to prosecute. So it's like no matter how you look at it, right? Something drastic has to happen in all of these in the situations in order for things to move. When you look at George Floyd or you look at Ahmaud Arbery, you look at how all of these people like came down and camped on that little town in Georgia for Ahmaud Arbery, or how the entire world literally the entire world started rallying for
George Floyd.
George Floyd. But Breonna Taylor, it's not to say that people weren't rallying and all that other kind of stuff. People absolutely were, but nothing happened. Just like we never heard anything that happened about the young man. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. The one that would go play his violin for sick cats at the vet. The one that got, smothered by the police and injected with whatever and they killed him. The autistic boy.
Yeah,
Drastic
right.
things. It's sad because we shouldn't have to go through all of this drastic stuff in order to exact change, because nobody else has to go through that. Like when the Asian people were being discriminated against, and they did the anti-hate Asian bill, like what drastic measure had to be taken for that to happen? But you have black folks not only being essentially lynched due to all these anti-Semites, I mean, well, not necessarily anti-Semites, but these racist people, these racially motivated shootings and all that other kind of stuff. And then, nobody's doing anything about it. We got voting laws. We can't even friggin' solidify our voting laws. It's ridiculous, and we really got to do better.
Yeah, I agree. And my last words, I want to say, like, we got to keep, pressing the issue with the legislators, pressing, the Democrats, the Republicans, everybody. Like, look, nobody's getting our votes unless you guys are doing some things to help our community out, because these symbolic gestures aren't enough. Okay, black people, we got a black Supreme Court justice nominated. Whoop-de-doo. That's just one of nine justices, right? And at the end of the day, it's not going to swing anything, right? It's not like
Right,
they elected five black justices and
right,
four black people's interests. That's, for example, okay, we got a black White House secretary. Okay, how's that helping us, right? So we need tangible legislation that's going to help us, and we're going to need these government officials that's going to argue and debate and advocate on our behalf, right, in our interest, because we're part of their constituency and we're some of the reasons why they got elected, right? So Biden, without black people's votes, he wouldn't have got elected. So I don't know, this disservice that he's doing with us. He needs to change this if he wants to be a two-term president, or he wants a Democrat to win. If he doesn't want to run again, then I think it's advisable to him that he puts forth some tangible legislation, because a lot of black people are getting fed up, and eventually they're just gonna sorry about that. They're just gonna get out of it, period, or they're just gonna vote somewhere else, independent, maybe Republican or another different party. So I think we need to make some changes there, and I think black people need to just stay firm, stay strong, and try to weather some of these storms that we're dealing with here, and keep up the good fight in terms of demanding what we need: reparations, legislation, other things that these legislators can do to assist us. So that's all I wanted to say. Y'all guys got any final words?
No, I think you pretty much hit it for me. I think, like you said, I think it definitely needs to come through legislation because I don't see it coming in, like, as far as no ban on guns, but I think it needs to be a ban on people who take actions against people based on the color. And so, yeah, like you said, he had reparations all written down there. He had the little manifesto. He had names of, past mass
Yeah,
murderers written
they
on
don't
his
have to
stuff.
do an
Like he went
investigation
in
on
there
the
like
hate
he was
crime.
trying to do. like he was an athlete writing on his shoes at the bottom of them, or putting like a little message or whatever. Like he was going out there to put on a performance, and so yeah, like definitely think we need to do a better job of that. But that's my little last two take on it. Y'all got anything else?
Yeah, my last thing is, I mean, it's not just about guns, right? I mean, everybody tries to make it about guns, but the root of the problem is not guns. The root of the problem is hate. The way that you try to control that is through guns, right? But that's not the only way. And I think that that's part of the problem, that a lot of our legislators think that, or move like it's the only way. There's so many different ways to skin it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And although the legislators need to be doing stuff, we need to do stuff, right? We have to make sure we're holding people accountable and really moving with a different type of zeal. Because once we move with that different type of zeal and start moving differently and all that, hopefully people will start to recognize that you can't move like that. That's unacceptable, but it's absolutely 100% unacceptable, and it's not going to be tolerated. It has to be a zero tolerance policy, no matter where you are and how you move in order for some sort of change to be made. So, I just think that we have to figure that out. But in the meantime, we got to make sure we're holding each other accountable. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, purple, blue, orange, or green. Just hold each other accountable, because it's not acceptable for anybody.
Agreed. I want to thank everybody who tapped in, added their comments today. I want to thank everybody who's going to catch the replay and show support and love. We have a new episode coming this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check that out. Also, check out our Facebook, Counterpoise Podcast. And you can catch me at Malik M. Foster, and also Malik_Counterpoise as my Counterpoise Instagram as well.
You
Guys
can
got
catch
anything?
me you can catch me on Samantha Renee 77 underscore ESQ, or Samantha ESQ Samantha underscore Samantha ESQ underscore counterpoise. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and all that stuff. And make sure you like, share, subscribe to our Instagram page too.
All right, peace, you guys. You can catch me that guy 2104 CP_EV.
All right, guys. Peace.
All right.